as well?
No, we're talking about the Super League. He definitely didn't score more than the London Broncos anyway.
No, fair enough.
Matthew Townsley, he went wrong quite a bit all over the show, really. Maybe at the start of the season he thought he was doing okay, but he went with Wigan to really struggle without their main men. He thought the Broncos would really struggle, and KR and Trinity to both have good seasons. I think he's 0 for 4 there by the end of the campaign, wasn't he? and Grace. To be honest, guys, I don't know what you think, but I think if we'd have looked at Grace's with a bit more of a critical eye at the start of the season, we would have said this isn't a say-what prediction, this is a run-of-the-mill, what happens every year prediction. But come the end of the season, she was nowhere near with this. She suggested that Saints would bottle semi-finals and Wyatt would bottle finals. Well, as we know, the bottle job's over.
Yeah, for now.
For now, yeah. And Leeds fans will still say that Castleford are still bottlers because of what happened in the 2 women's finals. So, so we have new bottlers now to talk about. Excellent stuff. Right, that is our predictions from the start of the year revisited. We're now going to get on to, I would say, the biggest part of this episode, which is the Listener Awards.
Right, so on to the main part of the show now, really. We're talking through your listener awards and what you really think of the season just gone. And we start with always the most popular people on the pitch, the match official of the year. Previous winners of this last year were Ben Thaler and Robert Hicks, with the joint winners. In terms of our votes, Sarah obviously hates all referees and chose not to respond on this
Liam
one.
Moore wasn't there, but she's talked about him.
So Sarah goes for Liam Moore, yeah. Okay. Actually, I think both Mark and I, we've been pretty consistent. We've both talked about how good we thought Kendall has been this year. And Tim went the other way and went for Emma McManus's favourite, Robert Hicks. We had votes for some names that I don't know. Clint Sharrod, don't know that name.
Touch judge.
Okay.
He's the really old touch judge who surely must be pushing his time.
No, that's Tony Martin. Clint Sharrod is the Aussie touch judge who is arguably slightly overweight.
James Child in the singular. Lewis O'Brien, don't know that one. And uncounted votes were made for Emma McManus and Sam Tompkins. I'm going to go in reverse order, I think. So third place with 26% of the vote was Chris Kendall, so missing out there. Second place, 30% of the vote was Ben Thaler. And the winner, just to rub the salt in Emma McManus's wounds, 37% of the vote went to Robert Hicks. What do we think of that?
Fantastic choice. I think he's good communicator, very good referee, good understanding of the game, and if it winds up Eamon McManus, it's always a good idea.
I think we need to get this in front of Eamon McManus as urgently as possible. I'm sure he will be listening, but if he's not, he needs to listen. Then we need to get his reaction, so then that suspended part of the fine is paid up.
Yeah, nice.
Okay, into the combined Championship or League One, we put them together and asked for the Player of the Year in that division. The first time we asked for this award was last year in 2018, and the winner was Jonathan Ford of the Toulouse Olympique side. This year, 19 players received votes. I went for Matty Ashton, the try-scoring sensation at the Swinton Lions. Tim went for Chester Butler, I think more on name than anything else, or Welsh maybe. Alan went for Dane Chisholm. Alan went for Dane Chisholm, he left you.
Yeah, and the reason I did and ahh about this one quite a lot, but the reason I went for Dane Chisholm was because he made such a difference to that team when he joined. And obviously they had a wonderful end to the season, so that was my rationale, even though he did leave.
Sarah, you, I'm guessing, didn't catch much of the Championship this year. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I didn't see enough really to make an informed vote. I didn't think.
It doesn't change our. We'll make them informed or not.
Yeah.
See, Sarah keeps a powder dry, whereas we just say throw them out
just
there.
Shoot.
Well, this one kind of it all bunched up really in terms of the main vote getters. Like I said, 19 players got votes, but a few stood out above the rest. So it's a joint second place rather than having a third place. All of these guys got 11% of the vote each. Dane Chisholm, Matty Ashton, and Scott Morrell got 11% of the vote. But that leaves the winner with 26% of the vote, which I think is quite a good one in a unshortlisted category where there's so many players to pick from. To get 26% of the votes, John Wilkin. I don't know if everyone just wanted to remind him that he was a championship player or not, but John Wilkin.
It wouldn't surprise me knowing John Wilkin if he'd logged in himself and voted for himself 26% of the time.
None of them look suspiciously like him on the on the voting form, but what do we make of that? I mean, we'll all have seen a little bit of Toronto this year because, you know, they were on TV last year. Whether they will be next year, who knows? But they were on TV. Sarah, do you think John Wilkin, from the bits you saw towards the back end of the season, fair shout?
No, I think he's a dirty animal and a cheat.
Fantastic.
So, no.
Fantastic stuff. Well, he'll be back in Super League next year, so we'll see if he's going to continue the, do we say, high standards? He was an influence on that Toronto side. I think that's.
Yeah, but I mean, he was, you know. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh no, it's a filthy taste in the mouth saying it, Sarah. I agree. In fact, there were a lot of qualified votes for this because it wasn't a checklist one. You could write in what you wanted. Lots of people were saying John Wilkin, or something to that effect. What about our players in the NRL?
Yep. So the best Brit abroad previously went to Gareth Widdop last year. This year. All four of us went for John Bateman. There were three other players apart from John Bateman who were nominated, and we had a joint third place with 1% of the vote for both Elliot Whitehead and Gareth Widdop. 4% of the vote went for Josh Hodgson, and a massive 91% went for John Bateman.
Wow,
that's
so
huge.
That was comprehensive, wasn't it?
And I'm trying to think if we've ever had any winner of an award that was so overwhelmingly the winner of the award. I don't think we have.
Carl Ablett not get it for overrated. He must be.
That's a whole different field that we will move on to in a second. But yeah, John Bateman, we all went for him. And I tell you what, through the international series as well, I don't know if you agree, everyone, you know, he's been the only thing that we've had to smile about, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean,
that's on the kit.
Yes.
Yeah. We've looked good while playing like a bunch of whatevers, but an unbelievable year. Kind of obviously went across. No, you know, they didn't. Outside of probably a few people in Canberra, they didn't know what they'd got. But my God, he proved what an unbelievable player Bateman is. So yeah, no doubt, well deserved.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now we move on to the most overrated player, also known as the Wilkin Award. Previous winners: 2014 Rangi Chase, 2015 Carl Ablett and Matty Smith, and Kevin Locke and Chris Sandow, all joint. Gosh, there's a few names in that. 2016 Sam Tompkins, and 2017 Kevin Brown, and 2018 Luke Gale. Now we went in different directions to this one. Mark, you went for Danny Brough.
Yeah, because he was pegged as like the final piece of the jigsaw to get Wakefield from being just outside the playoffs to being in the playoffs, and boy did that not work out.
Alan, you went for Sam Cassiano.
Yeah, I ummed and ahed about it was going to be a Catalan player. I just couldn't quite decide which one, but I thought because of reputation, I thought Cassiano was the one for me in a team of massively overrated players this year.
Now, Sarah, did you miss this one out just because you couldn't think of which of Hull FC's players to give this one to?
Haha. To be honest, the season feels like such a dim and distant memory. Much less the beginning of the season when everyone was raving over people. But yeah.
And for me, it was Ollie Holmes. I just don't think everybody talks about him like he should be in the England reckoning or similar. But any game I've watched, he's either overtried and coughed up the ball, or taken it into contact when he should have passed it, or he's just talking far more than he's producing on the pitch. So I think he's quite well on the way, the overrated player.
Well, I don't think any of our choices came anywhere near the top, though.
No, they didn't. So we had 31 different players getting votes for this. 6% went to Sam Tompkins and Sean O'Loughlin.
Yeah.
So, 7% went to Lachlan Coote, which is an interesting one.
I think all of those votes came from Warrington fans who must have only watched him in the Challenge Cup final.
And with 15% of the vote, it is England's number 2 winger. It is Blake Austin.
Yeah. What?
The Techno Viking himself. I think this must be bitter Saints fans on the opposite side.
Can any of you explain this one? Like, what are people watching to pick out Blake Austin as the most overrated player? I've got Warrington later on. I'm going to talk a bit about Blake Austin. None of it's about him being overrated.
There was a lot of hype. He's a Marmite player, isn't he? I mean, he has had some poor games.
Yeah, but look at the performances without him. Of the
season, I wouldn't say. I don't know. Well, I think if you look at how many people thought he was going to get Man of Steel and then he didn't.
Yeah, but he was leading the Man of Steel vote when they closed the vote down from public seeing who was winning the vote. So maybe people didn't think he was that good. But obviously people didn't. They thought he was overrated. He's won the award, though, so congratulations to him. That is the big win in inverted commas win, isn't it?
But, 31 different players got votes and your winners with 15%, so it's not a massive amount of people that thought it, is it?
No, and we're going to get even smaller on the next award, Alan.
Yep, so we move on to the most underrated player. Previous winners, 2014, Oliver Holmes, doing the full circle, going from underrated to overrated. Much like this next guy, 2015, Carl Ablett. 2016, Reece Hambury, there's a name from the ages. 2017, Matt Cook. 2018, Matty Ashurst. In terms of players, a couple of us, you do tend to go for lower teams in the league when you look at underrated players. That's where I was looking anyway. So I went for Elliot Keir, guy who always, makes great meters and kind of doesn't get much plaudits. Tim, in a Broncos vein, went for Luke Yates. That's probably not a bad shout. Lee Mossop was Mark's choice. I kind of get that, particularly towards the end of the year. He kind of...
It wasn't just the end of the year. I saw him at the start of the year as well in a couple of games. It was a personal thing. I thought he was done. I thought he was a spent force. And this year demonstrated that he is not. So that's where I went. Yeah. Why I went for him.
Yeah. No, it's a good shout. We had 41 different players receiving votes. It's a complete, very open choice. This one.
Everyone has a different view.
Certainly is. Indeed. So in terms of a joint second place with 5% of the votes, was Gil Dudson, again, kind of in the Lee Mossop vein, kind of a player you thought was done. Stefan Ratchford, I don't get that, and Willie Iser. All Wigan fans there. And we've got another joint winner for 9% of the vote with Great Britain international Joe Philbin and Niall Evalds.
Who is underrating Niall Evalds, really?
Well, if you look at it from a perspective of he didn't get any international recognition yet, he was joint top try scorer in Super League or one behind the top try scorer in Super League. I think that maybe that's where the underrated comes from that someone is not thinking he deserves